5-year-old Jake, right? He needs to know that if he's breaking the rules, breaking the law, he's going to get punished. He's going to get locked up. He's going to get a fine. He's going to, if he sleeps with another man's wife, he might get his head blown off, right? Or get his head knocked off, uppercut it, hitting the head with a baseball bat, right? These are the things that a lot of our people need to live and to do the right thing, quite frankly, you know what I'm saying? Because we've all learned the wicked ways of the so-called white man, right? So now you're thinking it's okay to, be a nasty, filthy homosexual, right? Or, the list goes on and on, all right? But, discipline for your kids benefits them and you and the community as a whole. The whole nation will benefit from you disciplining your children, right? Let's get Proverbs 29:15.
Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 15. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame.
Right. His mother and his father to shame. See? So if you don't want to be embarrassed by your children when you get out in public, then you got to give them proper correction. You might have to pop their hand, right? You might have to take your belt off. You might have to have them sit down in the corner, think about what they did. Most certainly you might have to not give them the thing that they want. That's what, parents are so terrible about now, is giving in to the children, The children are running this place, It's terrible. You make up rules, they break the rules, and you just act like nothing happened. You still give them a new PS5. That's not going to work, You're creating a monster then. And then later on, you want to kick him out of your house when he get 18, right? Or you want to hurry up and send him out to, to get a job to help you pay the bills because, he's ate up all the groceries, he's tearing the house up, need a lot of repairs now. You can't afford it. Well, you should have gave him something to do. You should have taught him right from wrong, him or her, right? And so then you wouldn't be trying to work your way out of a hole, out of a bad situation. The whole thing is to keep that situation from taking place, So, you got to punish your children. You got to discipline your children, lest they're going to embarrass you in front of your friends and family, in front of the people you don't know, in the general public, when you're out at the grocery store. Your kids start wilding out. Don't try to act like you can control them now. You never gave them no attention, no correction at home. But now you want to yell at them, scream at them. That makes you look crazy.
It does.
You're being ran amok by your child. Your child is running you, and now you look crazy, right? Leave that to the heathens, okay? We should have our households in order, right? And of course, the curse has got a lot to do with that. See? So let's look at how did this come to be, right? Let's get that in Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave.
Right. So because we failed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, right, and we forgot about the Most High's laws, now there's no brotherly love amongst the Israelites, right? Even Judites themselves, the so-called black man, he hates the other black men, right? Mm-hmm. And there's also no love amongst the people in your household, right? So that's why you run out on your family, You're not really taking care of them. You're not giving them any attention, right? Because it's the curse that's been put on you for being wicked. All right, let's read on.
Can I get a precept for that? What you were saying about a curse
Beautiful.
to your house for not keeping the commandments, of course. Ecclesiasticus chapter 27, verse 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown.
That's right. And who's it overthrown by? The woman, the child, so-called white man, right? The latest podcaster or, TV show host, right? You have no control over your household now. True. Right? Beautiful. Let's read on in Deuteronomy 28.
All right, verse 55. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left him in the siege and the straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates.
Right. So, brothers leaving home because they ain't got no job, they ain't no work opportunities, or he just stressed out by his woman or the children, not listening, and then, he can't discipline his child without the mom saying something about it. Man can't deal with that. So what they do, get up, try it again across town, right? Find a new female and then set up another broken home over there. It's terrible. So-called black, Hispanic, and Native man, take care of your damn children, right? If you don't like their mother, hey, that's one thing, but you need to be raising your children, Women shouldn't be raising your children without you. There's no good outcome to that, okay? You see a woman with 2 boys and no man around, she's dressed like a whore, she's raising the shooter and the getaway driver.
Yeah.
And we got to put a stop to that, Read on.
The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for her delicateness and tenderness.
So, women, our women used to be tender and delicate, right? Mm-hmm. And they used to know that they're valued, and they used to act accordingly, dress accordingly, right? Have self-esteem, right? That, won't be confused with a prostitute, right? You can tell a good woman. But now, that it's just like a melting pot of whoredom, quite frankly, and promiscuity, right? Read on more about these women.
Not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for her delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear.
Right. It's one thing when a man is with a woman, and he, might believe that the children ain't his, or whatever the case may be, but the women know that child came out of them, but they still ignore them, neglect them, destroy them by giving them everything they want, filling them up with GMOs, right? Mm-hmm. It's not, the kids aren't worth you cooking a meal, right? They eat nothing but McDonald's. You wondering why they always sick. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the men should be regulating that. We got a bunch of effeminate, weak, sorry men in the Israelite community that need to check themselves and get themselves together, because your children are a reflection on you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And when you don't know your child's name or birthday, or you ain't seen them in 5 years, and they don't have they never respected you, you never went to see them, support them, they're going to resent you, and you'll never get them back. Now a lot of kids, when they get older and they leave home or whatever, but it shouldn't be animosity and hatred there to where they're running away from you. And then, and their whole objective is to never see you again. Okay? But, hey,